Hello guys, it's Creation Guy NZ here again. It's my second video, it's awesome. I haven't actually got any views yet on my first video, but that's okay. I'm hoping that when you watch this video you will be a random person who's maybe typing this in and you're like, oh, what's this channel? And I hope that as I develop it as well, maybe you'll go back, maybe I'll have like 500 people who are following or something like that in the future, and prayerfully, you'll go back over these episodes and have a bit of a laugh at how raw they were and how bad the quality was and things like that. So hopefully I'll get some views. First video didn't get any views, that's alright, that's all good. So I wanted to talk today about, are dinosaurs truly millions of years old? Are they? Because in the evolution, you go into a kid's bookstore, you go into the library, and the first thing you pick up on a dinosaur book is you see in the starting page is millions of years old. That's the first thing you see. It's just assumed. You talk to a kid about dinosaurs, like, oh, millions of years old. Well, they died out with a meteor 65 million years ago. And I want to examine that. Are dinosaurs truly millions of years old? And there's good evidence that they're not. The first piece of evidence is from soft tissues found from fossils. So Mary Schweitzer did some really famous work along with a colleague back in the 2000s. I think it was 2010. It might have been a little bit earlier. But what she did is when she got the fossils from I think it was the Hell Creek Formation in Montana, she put the fossils in an acid bath. And over time, what developed was the developed soft tissues. Soft tissues came out of it. And also she found blood cells, she found protein, she found collagen, and she found DNA. Now, if you talk to a doctor or a nurse and you ask them the question, how long could these be around for, even under ideal preservation conditions, they would say, oh, maybe thousands of years, maybe tens of thousands, but certainly not millions of years. That would just stretch the boundaries of common sense. That would be ridiculous. But that is indeed what she found. DNA is really unstable. Jonathan Safadi in By Design that I talked about last week talks about this and says that DNA, without the DNA repair mechanisms in our own bodies, would absolutely break down really fast. So the fact that this DNA has been found in these fossil bones is proof that there is, well, it's not proof, but it's massive evidence that these are in fact young. These fossils aren't millions of years old, they're actually young. And soft tissues itself should have broken down. The other thing about the DNA was that it didn't match any known genome, which ruled out completely contamination. That was something that critics would have said. They would have said, oh, well, it could be contamination. But it didn't match any known type. It didn't match cells didn't match any known type. Therefore, it can't have been contamination. And so it's really interesting with the soft tissues as well, because it happens consistently in fossils that are supposedly millions of years old. They actually find these soft tissues, and that when they break them down in the acid bath. Now, soft tissues shouldn't be there, but some of the preservation is absolutely exquisite. In fish, they find scales and all these different things. It happened about 40 times. A real famous one that they found was in a Triceratops brown horn, which creationist scientists found. And I've actually watched a video, and you can watch it online, and there's a really good documentary called Is Genesis History? And they actually have a microscope video, and these guys are stretching this stuff that came from this Triceratops fossil, and it's like, this should not be this way. If these are millions of years old, then this shouldn't be that way. The other thing they find is they find carbon-14. Now, people say, well, carbon-14 proves millions of years. But it can't prove millions of years old. They actually go to other dating methods. They use potassium argon, or they use argon, or they might use uranium lead dating for rocks that are millions of years old. But actually carbon-14 is only used for rocks that are only 100,000, in fact 50,000 years or less. That's because over time, you shouldn't find carbon-14 after about 100,000 years, because carbon-14 is an unstable atom, it's radioactive, and it decays to another carbon atom, carbon-12. And so after 100,000 years, you should find none. There should be none. You shouldn't even read it on the counter. but consistently they find it in fossils that are in rocks. The rocks are supposed to be millions of years old, but they find in the fossils contained in the rocks carbon-14. What that means is that, one, the older dating methods are inconsistent, and two, that the fossils themselves are younger than 100,000 years. And with the soft tissue preservation, it's very likely that it's exactly as the Bible said all along, that it's only been 6,000 years of Earth history, and that these fossils aren't old, but millions of years, they're actually young. And so what is the biblical view of dinosaurs? Because you read the secular view in all the textbooks. What is a biblical view of dinosaurs? The biblical view of dinosaurs is that they were created during creation week. They were vegetarians originally. Just because they've got sharp teeth doesn't mean they were carnivores. And it's like the panda. The panda eats bamboo, therefore it needs really sharp teeth. And so they were originally created exactly as the Bible says, vegetarian. Then they went on the ark, and then Adam and Eve sinned. The fall came. They became meat eaters. And then they were on Noah's ark. Just with every other type of living animal, they were on the ark with Noah. They didn't have to be big. That's the other thing. How did dinosaurs fit on the ark is a common question. Well, the thing is, they didn't have to be big dinosaurs. They could have been juveniles. Most dinosaurs were actually not that big. They were actually medium or to small size. Most created kinds of dinosaurs were actually not massive. Therefore, you either take the smaller species or the smaller kinds, or you take juvenile ones of the bigger kinds. And those juveniles would have been ideal, because after they were on the ark and they spread out into the earth, you would have wanted to have smaller dinosaurs that were really healthy potentially, and that could have heaps of generations, so that they could fulfill what God said in going out from the ark and filling the earth. Then what we should find, according to the Bible, with the Bible's account of history, is we should find in every culture then, as the dinosaurs spread out and as mankind spread out on the earth after the flood, we should find records of where people encountered dinosaurs. We should find artwork associated with cultures that should be comparable to what we find with modern reconstructions from fossils, and that's what we find. There's a really good book called Dire Dragons by Vance Nelson that I'd encourage you to check out. Even if you're able to see a sample. You can see samples, I think, on Amazon and through the Creation store. You can actually preview some of the pages. And when Vance Nelson and authors like him compare this artwork found in cultures all over the world to modern reconstructions from paleontology, from the fossils, the similarity is absolutely uncanny. The chances of this happening by random chance is zero. If evolution is right and the dinosaurs are a million years old, people should not have encountered them. Well, when people tried to draw mythical dragons, they should have been so off. But they are so similar consistently. It's the consistency that's the key. It's a worldwide trend. Medieval culture, North American Indian culture, Chinese culture, all these different people groups all encountered these creatures that when they drew the artwork, they find that they are similar and in fact dead on to modern paleontological reconstructions. This is amazing proof that dinosaurs are not millions of years old, and I'd encourage you to look into this more. If you want to email me for other videos I should do or other topics that you're curious about, email me at creationguyNZ for New Zealand. So Creation Guy New Zealand, or Creation Guy NZ, one word, at gmail.com. Chuck me an email, let me know what you think, and hopefully, you enjoy this video. But my prayer is that this piques your interest. You think to yourself, Oh man, I want to reassess this whole evolution, this whole millions of years thing. Look up creation.com or answersingenesis.org. You'll find amazing articles. Search out the truth, and I pray that you'll find Jesus Christ, because the Bible is true. Jesus Christ came as a real person who died for your sins. God bless you all, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.